we open wide the virtual stage where ideas spark and wisdom fills the page. From the UK to the land of maple trees, John and Mike bring clarity with ease. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we grow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show.
Hello, how are you? I'm quite excited. We have a great collection of Zoomies, both in Zoom and out of Zoom. And I do feel that for the sake of everybody's stress, I would like to remind you, if you've ever seen it, of a Zoom safe harbor statement, which basically says, we're going to talk about some stuff which is really new. Don't expect it all to work today. It might not work until the near future, but you can promise one thing, Zoom's working on this recording studio. What is a recording studio? Well, I don't know, because I'm not a Zoomie. I'm just a Zoomie community champion. I have my fellow community champions today with me. Mike Latter is here, making sure we are all on screen at the right time. And Ray Harwood is here, and he's already had a play with Recording Studio, so he'll know a bit. But the person who knows everything, well, at least we hope he knows everything, because that's what we're expecting him to do, is our mate from Zoom, Josh Bragg. Josh, wonderful to have you here.
Hi, John.
Hope that intro's good enough for you.
Thanks for the pressure. I appreciate it. Yeah, always good to see you. Love being here. Hello to the Lord Zoom community. Always good to see everybody these are just my buddies in here. So Ray and Mike, good to see you guys as always. So yeah, appreciate the pressure.
Well, let's keep it theoretical and marketing wise to start with. What is the whole reason behind Recording Studio? Where is this product going to go? What are we trying to achieve that we couldn't achieve without it?
Yeah, great question. One thing we're just realizing is, we're not just realizing it, but we're trying to take advantage of this, is Zoom is one of the premier content creator places in the world, right? If you are creating video content for really almost any kind of B2B type of situation, let alone all the other ones we can come up with, you're probably doing that on Zoom. So meetings are obviously the big one, but there's plenty of other ways to build content here as well. And we recognize, especially in the webinars and events world, we recognized this a little while ago, that there was so much you could do with our platform. Reliability, we're relying on our reliability for things like recording sessions, things like obviously live events, but people were using all kinds of other ways to capture and build a more of a production workflow, a post-production workflow. And so we wanted to close that gap. And so with Recording Studio, what we've brought to market is a dual-ended recording solution for Zoom meetings. So what this means is that you can record both in the cloud and on local participants' devices, isolated video recording captures. So super exciting. It's a new day for event production and really just content production here with Zoom. So that's really what it does, is unlocks isolated recordings for each individual participant in a meeting, available with webinars and events. So yeah, that's the top end of this product.
Okay, so I know what's going on in my head. I know what went on in Ray's head, and I know what went on a lot of people's head. They jumped the gun for you. Let's be honest, to them and to you, people looked at this and started finding a whole new range of things that they could do with this tool. and you weren't really ready for it. And that's okay, because that's the way Zoom does things. It brings out something, and then we all come up
Yep.
with imaginative ways.
That is the way this relationship seems to work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
let's talk about quality.
Yep.
I could, before this tool even came along, I could record in the cloud, or I could record locally. And if I record locally, it records I suppose it is a uncompressed, dump it all as soon as possible type recording, which is then on my machine. And when my meeting finishes, Zoom then comes along and looks at that recording, which has been dumped in a format of Zoom just to get it onto the disk as efficiently as possible, and then takes that and turns it into what we would usually see as a video file. And in doing that, we lose the quality to a small degree because we just become a normal 1080p video. Would that be fair?
Yes, if you're talking about the former local kind of recording process, yes,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And what I understand about this new process is you are now recording locally.
Yep.
So everybody who's in the group, and it can't be hundreds of people before anyone jumps to that conclusion either. It's only a limited number of people.
Yep.
All those recordings are locally recorded just the same way. They're chucking it onto the machine as efficiently and quickly as possible, but much more quality is kept when that's converted in the cloud rather than the old version. That's how I understand it.
Yeah, a few things are happening here. So the first thing that it's doing is, and this didn't exist before this feature, is just isolated cloud recording captures of individual participants. So that right there is a new feature. So maybe that's all you really want is just, hey, we're going to fire up a recording session, and I just want to capture everybody individually because I'm going to do some sort of maybe mild post-production, and quality's not of the biggest concern. It's just getting everybody in the right place at the right time. So that's one, is isolated cloud recordings. Two is what you're describing, is we're also doing the dual-ended side, where we're also instructing everyone's local client to capture their camera in an uncompressed way. That can be kind of a big term there, but an uncompressed way on their local device that then is subsequently uploaded to the cloud. So what you end up with is both a cloud recording and a local recording file that have been uploaded to the cloud by individual participant, whoever you're choosing to record, and by take. So we're actually allowing you to divide the session, whatever recording session you're doing, into various takes. All kinds of different reasons you might want to do that. We could talk through that in a minute. But so what you end up with is a much higher quality recording, especially off that local computer. So we are constricted still to 1080p. That's the world Zoom continues to play in, so 1080p. But you can capture up to 60 frames a second at a really, really nice high bit rate on that local machine if your camera supports 60 frames a second. So yeah.
Okay, so let's try and reduce this back into practical things for everybody. I have a 8M ISO, so I can plug 8 cameras or 8 videos into that machine. I can plug a recorder,
This is the dumbed down version.
Yeah, this is the cut down version. So I can put a
The
drive.
dumbed down version is stitch in
back.
8 cameras.
Yeah, but I can record that. I get, when the recording's finished, they're not whoever's live on screen.
Yeah.
They are still 8 recordings. And now I don't need all that equipment because you are now giving me a Zoom that will keep all those videos separately, just in the same way as some of us have been separating out the audio channels so we can mix them. You will give us all the video channels of, I don't know if it could be of all of us, couldn't it? It could be the 4 of us. We could have a meeting together, and at the end of it, we'd have all the 4 videos. So even if I decide that I'm talking at one point and you're on the screen, or I'm on the screen, or Ray comes and says something and he's not on the screen yet, I could then remix all those videos so that I can produce another version of the show with the video, people on the video that I want to be on the video. And that's why we talk of isolated recordings.
That's it. Yep. Yeah. So it slices them up for a post-production workflow, first of all. So now I end up with my 8 tracks. We also generate an XML file. So you can also take not just those individual files, but that XML file, which is a media timeline file that can be imported into your video editor. So a DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere, you can bring that in, helps line everything up, and then you can make sort of your post-production edit. So that's probably the primary workflow there that I could think of would be, we're going to record a podcast, or we're going to really, really intentionally record some sort of bi-directional conversation. Maybe not bi-directional. Maybe you all are the producers and you're going to get on-screen talent to show up and you want to capture them, still using a Zoom meeting to manage the talent, manage the workflow, manage the session. But ultimately what you want to end up with is individual files by take. The other sort of advantage of this is cloud recording is still sort of dependent on internet all behaving, right? And we all know that the internet doesn't always behave. It behaves pretty well, usually with Zoom, but not always. One of the advantages when you have dual-ended recording going on is you're covered. So that local recording of that local person, that's not going to glitch. So that's going to look nice and clean, even if something were to happen on your cloud recording side. Their internet blips or something like that, you have coverage. You have a coverage shot, right, of that person that you might need to go stitch that back in. So again, I think for the most part, these are going to be workflows that you're going to be pretty proactive about, right? I'm wanting to intentionally bring us into a recording session, expecting to manipulate these files, but I could think there'd be eventually use cases where, no, I just want to capture these for posterity's sake. I want to capture for backup, right? There's other reasons too, but I think the primary workflow here is going to be, I want to bring everybody together for some sort of recording, and I want to capture it in that way, and then knowing I'm going to manipulate it later. So tons of use cases there that we can chat about, but yeah, that's the way I see it working out.
Okay, so the probably the one sentence answer to describe this is it gives us individual recordings and a higher quality than you'd usually get in a Zoom meeting.
In a Zoom meeting.
And it sounds wonderful. And Ray loves it, don't you, Ray?
I do. I love the concept. I love the execution. I love a lot of things about it. There are a couple of things that, I wish it was perfect already, but, I'm not expecting it to be perfect. And the thing that we did a couple of weeks ago on the Zoom Test Kitchen was we tried to use it. Both Dave Paskin and I had put in service requests, because if you look at the release notes, enablement is required. It just doesn't come. You have to go ask for it to be enabled. And, because the two of us were really sort of, where did these guys come from? Why are they asking? It took about a week for us to even get now we know what to do. We're going to give it to you. And then once they gave it to us, it didn't work to start with. And then we, knocked on Zoom's door again and said, hey, this is what it's doing. And then they fixed whatever they needed to do on the back end, and it works. It actually works pretty well. I've done a couple of tests, just me and my own computer over here from two perspectives. What I discovered and learned yesterday is that I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the end-to-end recording. I have a Xeon 1290p processor with 10 cores and 20 virtual, and I've got a Quattro 5000 from NVIDIA card, but it's not the latest Intel version chip, and you've got to have the 12th generation chip, and you've got to have 8 cores in order for you to get the local recording. So that's what I'm told by the support people. I don't know whether that's true or not. But I've never had support people lie to me, not that I know of. So yeah. But what I have not done yet that I want to do soon is, the couple of recordings that I've done, I want to take them down and bring them into Adobe Premiere Studio and bring that XML file in and see how that works. I've done the let's make multiple tracks of video and audio. You've been able to get the ISO audio for some time. And where that really works well is when you've got an open mic and there's 4 or 5 people on the screen, or you've got a gallery view, and you're kind of inviting open discussion, and somebody's dog starts to bark in the background while your main person is saying something really, really profound and important. You can go grab that main track and play that and bring everything else out and do that. But now with this, you'll also be able to do it with the video. If they were in a gallery view and a little itty bitty tiny piece of the gallery view, and you were also doing a local recording of them, you'll be able to get that. Even the cloud recording, you'll be able to do that. The other thing that I don't think we've used the word, but I want to make sure it's also emphasized currently, and Josh can tell me if this isn't always going to be true. Currently, it has to be in a meeting. You can't do this in a webinar currently. And so from my perspective, that strengthens it for a couple of use cases. I don't have a podcast, but I've thought about doing a podcast many times before. And I think if you follow podcasts, you know now that Apple is allowing video podcasts. I think this is the place for video podcasters to be, who are all remote and coming together to talk about things. So it's a great use case.
Totally agree.
And many others.
Totally
many.
agree. Yeah. What we think it really does, right, is it makes your podcast workflow Zoom, which is just a great way to do it. All you have to do is spin up a meeting. Now you're going to get these lovely recordings. You can edit them however you want. Actually, if we have time, we can show in this conversation, but Camtasia just released a Zoom integration that allows you to bring files, your cloud recording files, directly into the timeline, and it can see these files because these go to the same place, so you could see those. So you could have a very simple editing workflow of Zoom. Record your Zoom. That's easy. Everybody knows how to do that. There's right into Camtasia or right into a video editor. Polish it up really quickly, depending on the level of your podcast. Also, with Zoom, you get AI Companion, right? So you get the transcript of your recording session already. You get the meeting summary already, right? So you can start to identify those things. You can start to build show notes. I'm from the webinars and events side, but if you are doing pre-recorded content, well, you can already start building handouts or session descriptions or key takeaway summaries or any of that type of content. You can already build it if you're pre-recording sessions, because you're doing it in Zoom. It's in the right workflow, and off you go. So I think that's really, really powerful for podcasters out there, especially any kind of podcaster who wants sort of the lowest barrier to entry. You really need Zoom, and now a Zoom webinars and events license. There's a couple different ways to get there, but you can get there pretty quickly, whether you want to do things with a live audience or just a passive audience like a podcast. So
I've got another workflow where this is going to work really well too, if you don't mind, John. I've got a client who, doesn't like doing things the way we like to do them live. They want all of their presentations done pre-recorded.
Very common.
And that's okay. That's okay. Except, the last event that I did for them, most of their speakers were from over in Europe. And, recording someone who not only is in another country, on another internet feed, we had a number of occasions where you've got the occasional glitch, and maybe they're a little longer than normal and that sort of thing. And so that's where I really have my hopes up that, we'll be able to get the end-to-end piece, the local recording, to where sort of the average user, I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where the hardware restrictions come down a little bit. But that would be really nice to be able to do that with other machines.
I agree totally. That is what hit me, is the security of the recording. I think is probably the biggest winner for me. Whether you've got a CEO who's going to want it done in one take and is not going to accept any excuse or reason why it didn't record properly. If you've got a special speaker you've paid to get in and you're not going to get them again, you want to make sure that that recording is secure, and to be able to have it recorded locally on their machine without you having to faff around on their machine recording it for them and setting it up, that it's just done. That to me is really special. And I would like to ask Mike to come in at this point, because the elephant in the room is bandwidth. If you're going to have a posher recording and you're going to record it locally, you need to make sure that you've got the bandwidth and all the infrastructure. And as Ray said, you might not have the processor powerful enough to catch a quality 60 frames a second. So the fact it's recording locally does take a bit of the stress off that situation, because it doesn't mean your upgoing connection has to take that 60 frames a second straight away. So when I started thinking about this technically, Mike, this has been a big jump for Zoom, hasn't it? From what they had to what they're now delivering in this new version.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm here in the background. But yes, when it comes to when it comes to bandwidth, yes. So bandwidth is going to definitely increase. And we noticed this as well. And Josh might be dabbling into that a little bit today too, when we talk about enhanced media. So again, that bandwidth will actually go up as well, because again, it's what we're used to normally, again, has been 1080p 30, or in the regards of PAL, 1080p 25. So again, you have your bit rate of that is usually anywhere between 4.5 megabit to 6.5 megabit per second when it comes to the actual bit rate of the actual stream. But now we're talking that now we're going to 60 frames a second. So we're doubling the amount of frames. So because of the fact that we're actually doubling the amount of frames, we are actually now going to be pushing that higher end of that spectrum, where we could get away with 4.5. Now we're getting up to 6.5 megabit per second, if not possibly even pushing that up to 8 megabit per second. So again, it is going to be more of a bandwidth hog, but it's not really a hog per se, because you are getting the true quality, and it is totally a game changer, especially for those situations where you really need the enhancement of the 60 frames a second. So that's where this will definitely come into play. Absolutely.
And of course, space. I'm happy to say that Zoom actually checks the hard drives to make sure that the person who's going to do a local recording has got enough disk space to store it, because it's going to be quite a bit of disk space storing that file before it's storing it uncompressed before it's sent up into the cloud. So there are a few things that you need to have a slightly, frankly, guys, you need a posher camera. What's the use of creating this wonderful video standard at 60 frames a second when you got some pathetic little 720p webcam? So there are quite a few things, if you're going to go to this high level, there's quite a few things you really want to improve on. And this just makes it possible. And I'm glad to see Josh is smiling, because he was worried.
Let's sell some cameras. We should sell some cameras. But yeah, one thing I want to note there too. So one, Recording Studio will perform a check on the local participants when you go to enable this feature in the recording session. So it does look for storage space, and requires, I think, a 20 gigabyte space. Requires some space before it allows that, and it'll check a little bit for bandwidth, and it'll check for minimum version. It sounds like it's also checking for hardware requirements, which I was not super aware of, so we'll check on that too. But so you still cloud record in those situations. If you're not on the right version, if you're in a web browser, the cloud recording will still work and still be isolated. It's just that that local recording won't be there, so you can still participate in all of that. And the way we do the temporary storage of that local file is it's actually stored not in the browser cache or anything like that. It's actually storing on the local machine and then uploading after. If it fails for any reason, or a user closes their laptop and walks away, that file's not lost. We will retry the next time that the Zoom client gets to the internet, it will retry. There's a manual reattempt process, and we won't delete the file until it successfully uploads. So this is an advantage over some of the other providers out there that are maybe a little bit more browser based, where things can happen, right? A browser could crash or something like that. This protects that file, and then we'll reattempt the upload until it's successful. So won't have too many lost files along the way, I think.
So I think the votes are in, and it's another wonderful product, another wonderful new feature for Zoom. And now we are just coming up with more and more different ways of using it. But I think it's fantastic, and it repositions the whole concept of recordings, I think, to another level. Gives the people who are doing production more than, oh, here's a recording of what we did. This is now something you can take and you can mix and match and have fun. And Josh, we're not ruling out running it in webinars in the future. It's just we haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet, and I think we'd like to hear. It's not on our immediate roadmap either, and the reason being, really, it's designed for a recording session, which, sort of by nature is not a live event, right? And so we're really trying to understand from the market, does this complement the webinar space? I think it complements the webinar space. If we're going to run, John, you and I could pre-record SimuLive sessions, right? And what a great use case here of capturing some nice high quality. Cloud still captures the screen share. We may expand to capturing local screen share as well, which would allow for higher quality screen share capture. That may be even before webinar, but I think we'd like to hear from the community and understand from the broader events community if webinar is the right place for this. Because yes, I could see certainly wanting to add this to a situation where I have a larger live audience. But at that point, is it just for posterity? What's it for, right? And is that the best way to go about serving that end use case versus, for example, production studio? Well, for the most part, what we're hearing from customers is, oh, I want to take advantage of my live situation, my live webinar. I want it to look really, really great so I can immediately turn it around without a lot of post-production. That's more what we hear from our webinar customers, which is kind of where the production studio tool fits of, hey, now I can run a live show that looks right, it looks great, it has nice transitions, Mike's keeping up with those as we go along here, and now it's already polished, it's already packaged and ready to go, versus recording studio is, I want to do some packaging and specifically do some production beforehand. So we'll be here. We'll be curious. This is a great place to go to our, community.zoom.com and chime in on this feature, or to come to venues like this, come to our office hours, or come to you guys. And we'd love to hear and understand what the market really wants for their webinars. Certainly before we just set loose a feature that may or may not be used in those live environments. So hope that makes sense. We're not dodging webinars, obviously, but we're wanting to maybe just carefully understand the use cases there. Yeah, Ray.
Yeah, Josh, I think as I think about the broad people who are using all of these products, we've got the people who can barely make a webinar function. And really want to make it look more professional, and the whole production studio, as I've done with a couple of my clients. I talk about my RE folks from New Zealand all the time, where they've got a total volunteer crew, non-technical. Yep. They run an entire 6-day event with 40 sessions, and they run production studio themselves and do a really good job of it. So we've got the really professional guys out there who have all of the 8K cameras and the ATEM switches and the Zoom ISO and all of that stuff that they're really, really good at. And for me, those guys probably don't need all this stuff because they're getting that anyway through sort of other means. There's a mid-range group that I don't know how big it is, and it's probably not that big, who want to use Production Studio because it's easy and I can have anybody do it. But sometimes something happens on Production Studio that just doesn't look professional. And I wish I had a way to swap something in its place
Yeah.
and, kind of make it happen. And so there's a use case for it, but the number of people out there might not make it. Zoom would have to think long and hard about investing in it if it was much more complicated to get it into the webinar space than it was to get it into the meeting space.
Yeah, yeah. I can't speak to the level of complication of actually doing this, but I think I struggle a little bit if it's the right fit for these more live audience environments or not, or if we're complicating right these things that are already can be kind of high stress. It sounds like they're being really successful. That's great, but I bet that's still high stress if you're also running all these isolated recordings and doing all these things out of one Zoom client, one Zoom webinar. Maybe that doesn't win there. But yeah, I think what this does, and I think you're right, does this replace Zoom ISO that can already do, isolated NDI extractions from meetings or webinars? No, I don't think so. I think if you're a technical producer who's already got gear and has a plan, has a workflow already for capturing those feeds elsewhere, I don't know if this necessarily replaces it, but I think it makes it easier than for the rest of us to just hit record. We can demonstrate this if we want a demo. I did just put a video out on this today on YouTube, John, so we can grab that and link that out. So I have a demo walking through that process, but this is as easy as firing it off and hitting go, right? Like this isn't setting up external hardware or software. So the simplicity I think is nice for quite a few of our customers. So yeah.
Okay, so let's take a.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we should take a sideways step now, Ray, to enhance media, and then we can link up how that works within the same types of customers. So, Josh, can you change gear now and give us your take on where enhanced media is now and what it's being used for and where you think it's going to go?
Sure. Yeah, enhanced media, and I'll grab I'll swap shares on you there, Mike, but I'll just kind of put this up. What is enhanced media? Enhanced media is an add-on SKU, so an add-on license type that can be applied to a user. Also, by the way, Recording Studio is not. So Recording Studio is right now just an exclusive feature for Webinars Plus or Events license holders. That's how you get access to Recording Studio today. So just so you know, it's not an add-on under that platform, but you do have to be a part of our events platform. Enhanced Media, on the other hand, is a per user add-on that needs to be added. And really what it does is takes your meeting platform and enhances it. So it unlocks, first of all, greater bandwidth constraints, greater bitrate constraints in your meetings. So generally meeting participants are in the 2 to 4 megabits a second bitrate. This ups that to up to 6 to 12. So much higher bandwidth can, if your internet supports it, obviously all of that, but ups sort of that ceiling quite a bit. Also unlocks 60 frames a second support if your camera supports it. So mine does, right? And now I can be in any of my meetings that I host on my account. I can be in nice crystal clear 60 frames a second at a really nice high bit rate, depending on who else is in the meeting and some of those things. So that's sort of the base of what this does. So this complements Recording Studio, right? Just makes that overall meeting experience, that overall recording session experience better, right? It's going to look better. It's going to feel sharper. It does have some sort of downstream benefits to the cloud recording as well. So the cloud recording will still end up in 30 frames a second, even using enhanced media, but looks a little bit better, feels a little bit cleaner, just overall. So that's kind of number one. There's also some benefits if you are a Zoom Rooms person, a Zoom Rooms customer, and what that really does is it unlocks 4K screen shares, 4K content share, and it unlocks a 4K display mode for Zoom Rooms. So this means you can have, four 1080p's on a single 4K display in a Zoom room. So if you are in those conference room environments that some of us are in, you can now have really, really high fidelity meeting experiences that are quite a bit superior. So that's what enhanced media does. Really complements the webinars and event space more than replaces it, right? Definitely it's going to help your meetings. It is limited today to meeting environments that are 100 participants or fewer, that Enhanced Media today. So it doesn't handle all of our events, our bigger live events necessarily, but definitely enhances that day-to-day meeting or those smaller sessions. Maybe you have premium events and you just want everybody to look their best. Just have to have this license, just has to be on your account, and then it ups this for everyone in the meeting, which is really nice.
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you. As you finished there, you pretty much answered it already. It's got to be your license, so you get the feature. It's got to be your meeting. You've got to be the host of the meeting, and then that feature is then rolled out across the whole audience.
Yep. So here's just a real quick chart. You guys can save this if you want, but Enhanced Media unlocks at 60 frames a second. Has to be on my account, has to be a meeting that I host, but it ups sort of the overall meeting participants there. And there is some degradation there with gallery views, right? So that's kind of where that gallery view shows. If you do have up to 4 participants, you can get those full 1080p's in gallery, which is what's represented on a 4K display, and then down it goes. So, yep. Kind of how it works. It is subject right now to 100 participant limit, and I think it'll probably stay that way for a few minutes. So we'll see. Yeah. So all these things really, they benefit, they improve, they take a normal meeting account to sort of a pro production meeting account, which is really, really nice. And then you add on this recording studio, and now you could do quite a bit more with a pretty simple, Webinars plus an Enhanced Media license. You can record very high quality, very high fidelity video files, and then have great live meetings as well. So definitely complements. Enhanced Media works without doing anything special or new in any meeting session that you run using the events platform. So that just has to be turned on. These features obviously is a separate SKU, so it has to be purchased, it has to be assigned to a user, and then there are feature toggles to turn on once it's been assigned to that user. So this can be done by the admin or it can be done by the user depending on how you administrate your account. But yeah, 2 really great features that really turn Zoom into a much more professional workflow environment, which I think is super powerful.
I get the feeling that this must blow the minds of a lot of people who have got a Zoom hub. They've been running 30 frames a second, 1080p on their great big 4K posh screen that they paid a fortune for. And now at long last, they've got a video feed that's going to be worthy of that 4K screen. That's going to be a big difference for them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in Zoom rooms here at the office in Denver. We got 100-inch screens or 85-inch screens that are big, beautiful displays. And when you start stretching 360 pixels across, what looks like a 32-inch monitor, it starts to get a little bit not ideal. But this will really, really benefit that and improve that experience. So.
And of course, it goes to the cameras as well, doesn't it? Because you've got a lot of them have bought cameras which can perform at 60 frames a second. Mike will probably tell us that that's the standard you would expect for those sort of cameras today. And at last, you've got a device that can plug into Zoom Rooms and it can run at its full speed again. And the quality. Well, you, sir, look so much nicer when you've gone from webcam to a proper camera now, and now up to 60 frames a second. It makes such a difference.
Appreciate it. I'm on my webcam right now. Sorry to burst your bubble there. I'm on my Insta360, but 60 frames a second. Not sponsored.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
When you get a license for this, does it apply to, and it's assigned to somebody?
Yeah.
Is that the only person whose meetings then get the Enhanced Media, or is that anyone who is using an event that this person perhaps is hosting as well?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, so an event session, let's say you own a hub, that's kind of what you're driving at, right? So Ray at yourwebsite.com, right? Yes, this will unlock those features for those meetings because it's hosted by your
For
account.
any of the hosts, alt hosts. Okay, cool.
Yeah, not alt hosts. So those, yeah.
Well,
But anybody who starts a
yeah,
meeting, because ultimately that
right.
that meeting or that event is hosted by your account, so it opens it up. Yep.
Right. Any
Which,
session
I
can
continue to be
include that.
shocked.
Yeah.
One of the most popular event types continues to be meeting format, which I just think is so powerful. We talk a lot about webinars. It's in the title of our product, right? But still over 50% of sessions are meetings, which is so interesting to me on our events platform. Number one. Number two, small still wins. And I think we've learned this post pandemic. We've had this conversation in other venues, but one of the things that's nice about virtual is you can be more niche focused, more niche focused, right? And chunk your audiences down to really specific interests or really specific personas. And so we're continuing to find that 50-person meeting is a very, very successful event type for a whole lot of people. So enhanced media covers that off just fine. And then, recording studio, don't necessarily know if you need to add that for a live event, but potentially you could to capture your couple of main presenters while you're facilitating some sort of 50-person conversation could work just fine. So recording studio is limited to 10 participants at a time, recording, not necessarily in the meeting, but recording them individually. So
I'm thinking the people that are doing hybrid events, if they bring a Zoom hub to their hybrid event, then they can use all the enhanced media to the screens that are in the venue and
yeah, that's fascinating.
enhance things there.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to see that use case worked all the way through for sure. Where my AV company's at.
Some of them are watching, and actually one of them actually has a question for you from YouTube. So we got Tony here. He's saying, is it correct that enhanced media also unlocks 1080p at 60 frames a second for the content layer?
For the content share as well. Yep. So it ups that as well. And there's some talk that will continue expanding the content share functionality and opening that up to greater resolutions as well. So I think that could be within the roadmap as well. But yes, so there's a lot of different ways to use content sharing, and opening that up to 60 frames a second can do some really powerful things. Could just be simple, video content you're playing through that feature, or through demo content, like some sort of actual high fidelity demo you're manipulating at 60 frames a second could be really interesting. But tons of use cases there.
Yeah, and actually Tony's got a quick follow-up too, which is that in Mimo Live, he's saying at 60 frames a second, for example, instead of virtual camera, can you use a content share pipeline into a meeting with lower latency and better layout?
I don't know. Let's play with it. Yeah, seems like a cool idea. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just a source, isn't it?
Just a source at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, once that content shares, there's a lot you can do with content sharing. So yeah, I think I'd love to see that work itself out. Tony, let me know.
There's a chap called Ray who's asked a question, and I'm not sure he wants to know the answer because he might be disappointed. But
the good news, John, is that I don't do a lot of streaming, but I know people who do streaming.
Great question.
That would go, does this enhance my throughput on a streaming platform?
Not at this time. It doesn't do anything for that downstream output. Yeah, good question though. Good recommendation.
Sorry, Ray. Said he, glancing over at the 4.84 megabits. We are streaming at the moment to.
Let's go.
Actually, we are streaming to. Mike, how many? 4. Yeah, we're streaming to 4 YouTubes and LinkedIn Live. If LinkedIn Live actually works properly now, because they've just changed the rules on that again. But we are.
I did notice they changed their rules. Are we on LinkedIn? Oh, that's great. I love that.
We are. Well, we hope we're on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn, you can't go live just like that. You have to prepare it, even if it's like 3 or 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn Live won't allow you to plan anything more than an hour ahead. And this video was planned 9 or 10 hours ahead. I think I put it up. So it will be interesting to see if the LinkedIn Live is running. If you're on LinkedIn, hello, put something in the comments, as they say, so that we know that you actually got the system working.
I'd love that content from you guys. How to go live on LinkedIn from Zoom. I think that'd be really great content. to put out
Well,
there. So,
we will do that.
one other thing I forgot to mention about Enhanced Media, as we're selling Enhanced Media here just a little bit. Enhanced Media license does unlock all of the liminal apps as well. So all of those apps that we love talking about that are part of the events and webinars side. So Graphics Toolkit, Tiles, ISO, OSC, those get unlocked with an Enhanced Media license as well now. So for some of us, that's a little bit more of an appropriate fit. Maybe we're more just in the technical production. We're not actually hosting live events or larger live events, and you don't need the full access to the platform. This is a different way to get that. So yeah. Hi, LinkedIn. Thanks for having me, boys. Good to see everybody.
Yeah. Ray, have you got any more little curveballs or little use cases you thought about that we can apply all this new tech to?
Well, my clients are mostly nonprofit groups, small groups, and when I get in with the office hours.global people and that sort of stuff, I go, look, my people's annual budget is what you guys spend on one event. So most cases I'm the only host. I don't have multiple people working that sort of thing. So a lot of the really good stuff, what I would say high quality stuff, these people just want to have a session that their people can be proud of and get the information from. But definitely those people who are looking at, pre-records, the recording studio will definitely help. I am starting to make good, I don't know if I would call it good use, but I'm about to make good use of the graphics toolkit. I don't use Zoom OSC or Zoom ISO. It's too much for me to handle here in my office. And normally if someone says, oh, but I've heard about these tools, I'll go recommend them, to other folks who use those. So, that and the whole podcast thing, I think really could help some people do some really fantastic stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to throw it over to Mike because Mike's got some new posh cameras coming soon. And I know they do 60 frames a second. And I think they might even be able to hit 4K when they really want to. But I'm assuming that his camera is going to look far more impressive with all these new tools. Is that right, Mike?
Well, yes, because of the fact of them being able to handle the 60 frames a second. So yes, so there is the potential of, again, our equipment does not connect directly to USB to a computer. So they're not webcams. They are professional cameras. So you would need some external gear to actually get it into your PC as if you're treating it like a webcam. But yes, if you have it going into like a video switcher of sorts, like John's talking about in any of the ATEM switchers or any different, anywhere from Grass Valley all the way up to all the different kinds of video switchers that are out there, then absolutely, you could actually bring our cameras in that way. And again, you're bringing in a 1080p 60 camera, and it is totally 1080p 60 equivalent to, even though Zoom can't handle it right now, but I am bringing in a 1080p 60 camera right now as you see me. So that is, it is what it is at this particular point. But yes, so as far as our cameras are concerned, yes, they'll be able to handle it without any issues.
Yeah. So I think it would be fair to say that at the semi-professional and professional levels, the standard of cameras is 50, 60 frames a second. Now they are really, that's their normal operating mode. So the fact that Zoom is now going to give them the opportunity to use that extra frame rate is something that they really need, they really want, and will be useful straight away.
Yeah. And again, of course, the frame rate really will come into play, especially if you do have more detailed content that you'll be showing. So example would be, if all of a sudden you're showing a lot of graphic related, specific small-ish graphics on your screen, then yes, definitely the 60 frames will be able to have that pop out more, thus the enhanced. It really makes it pop a lot better, as they would say. Pop.
Smoother graphics, smoother experience from a smoother group of people you've ever met.
Look at that segue. You're doing good, Jack.
I'm on fire. I've just had to write a presentation, so I'm full of all these new one-liner ideas at the moment. This was a relief because some of us had an inkling this was coming, and I don't know if you've looked at your calendar or outside. It's called summer. Has just appeared. It's June. Traditionally, Zoomies start disappearing. Josh did last week for a week, but Zoomies start appearing for their
3 days.
For their,
I took 3 days off.
yeah, but 3 days in the world of Zoom. I mean, that's like 3 months for some of the other companies around that I could not mention. But we have to admit, we are now coming into this summer time, and Zoomies go on holiday and projects start slowing down a bit. They do a lot of bug fixing and, we always wanted this feature and we thought we'd get it in while no one was looking time. That's what it is in Zoom. And we wouldn't expect anything really mind-blowing now till September. And then, of course, as soon as we get to September, people are going to be thinking about Zoomtopia. Josh, have you started thinking about what Zoomtopia is going to be this year? I mean, we've got AI, we've got high frame rates. What else is left for the world?
Yeah, well, there's format and content design, and as always, a keynote that really tries to set the bar in terms of hybrid. So we have some fresh format this year that I think will be really welcome to the online and virtual participant side. So super pumped about it. Obviously, Zoomtopia for us is an always planning kind of process, right? So, but yeah, coming up late October. I think they're announcing that date next week sometime. So. Should be good.
And we haven't even mentioned ZoomMate. We have to mention the word ZoomMate. I'm pretty sure it's in Josh's contract at the moment that he must mention it at least once a day.
Fantastic. Yeah. Not only is it out, it's really fantastic. So I've been using it, internally for, I don't know, six to 8 weeks, but it's really your one-stop shop for really how you use AI across your workflow, and not just to do basic chat things, but things like workflows and projects, all built on automated workflows, agentic workflows, all built on all of the conversational data, the conversational intelligence that we're building in our meetings or in our events. So really excited about the future of that. That's out now for all customers to take advantage of. I'm still learning it a little bit. I should probably make some video content on it at some point, but still learning how to use that all in my daily life, but super powerful, and can't wait till there's a Zoom events connector, which I think will be coming at some point. So think of all the things we could do once we can talk right to our Zoom events world from Zoom8. So check it out if you haven't. That's all over all the social platforms there. So
yeah, it's a workflow tool. So you can use
powerful.
the AI to take stuff from one place and then put it into another place. And of course, we'll all have to be using Zoom slides as well now, because that's sneaked out when no one was looking as well. As I said, it's June.
It's not stop around here.
No, they have to get them all out so they can all go on holiday. They're probably not allowed to go on holiday until they finish their projects. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the poor old Zoom developer community are all running around like mad because they've got their conference at the end of this month. And I don't know what part I'm playing in it yet, but I've submitted a whole load of stuff and we'll just see what happens. Just pray that I am creating the content for what is needed. But if you're out of breath after all that, then you're in good company, because I think we all are. This combination of upping the quality for Zoom for recordings. I've managed to get through the whole thing without saying that certain name of a company. If you got shares in it, I would sell them quick, because I don't think they're going to be able to compete against Zoom becoming probably the best place to podcast. I say probably when I actually mean definitely. It's got all the features now you need. If you want a podcast, you want a video podcast. As Ray said, video podcasts now are a thing. If you'd like to stop the onslaught of 20% of YouTube is now AI generated slop. So if you want to fight back in a nice place with great graphics and wonderful people to help you along the way, my money is definitely in Zoom. My efforts are definitely in Zoom, and my productions are definitely in Zoom. So thank you to Josh as our representative Zoomie for being here and helping us along the way. Thanks to our great friend Ray for dropping in and giving us his perspective on all the stuff that he gets up to in Zoom and events, etc. And I can't forget, well, I can't because otherwise you'll cut me off. I can't forget Mike, who's been running in the background, showing us how wonderful production studio is and throwing in his pennyworth or two on his experience in the hardware world from his distribution and amazing business in Canada. So Zoom tells us we should get everything finished in under an hour, otherwise it puts people off. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to finish in just under the hour. Thank you very much for joining us for this Zoom Live. Come back again for our next one next week. We might be talking about phones next week, but don't worry. Josh will be back next month for another Zoom events thing. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it will be around Zoom events next month. So thank you, Josh. See you next month. Thank you, Ray. You're always welcome to drop in. Thank you for Mike for being here. And obviously, thank you, dear audience, for listening and watching. Without you, we'd just be a bunch of guys chatting.
Bye, y'all.
Take it away,
Thanks, Ray.
everybody.
All right, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next week.
Every week we open wide the virtual stage where ideas spark and wisdom fills the page. From the UK to the land of maple trees, John and Mike bring clarity with ease. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. We're building meetings, webinars with might, helping you shine your message, taking flight. Whether you're new or you've done this before, Lord Zoom Live will help you do much more. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we grow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show. From big events to breakout rooms with flair, we've got the tools and we're ready to share. Guest experts drop in, bringing gold each time, with insights and tricks to help you climb. Can't make it live, we've got you still on YouTube and LinkedIn. We're giving that thrill, so tune in later or catch us next round. Either way, your success is where we're bound. Thank you for joining us, we're glad you're here. Together we grow, it's loud and clear. On Zoom we connect, we learn, we glow. Welcome my friend, enjoy the show. And make it live, we've got you still. On YouTube and LinkedIn, we're giving that thrill. So tune in later or catch us next round. Either way, your success is where we're bound. Now take the spotlight, the stage is yours. Bring your message through virtual doors. Each week we gather, and now you know you're not alone, so let it flow. Thank you for joining us, now go and shine. Share what you've learned, your voice, your time. With Lord Zoom Live, your power will grow. It's time to build your own show.